Hey guys, UrbanCombatSurvivor here. I'm going to call this video the prepper threat. Um, and when I say the prepper threat, what I mean is I know that there's a lot of people that have mentioned this kind of thing or alluded to it in comments and in videos, but I don't know that anybody's really just spelled this out and threw it out there. So I'm going to be the guy. How many of these people that call themselves preppers, that to them it's just guns and ammo? That's what they're putting up. They go to the range, they go out and they practice with their buddies. It's kind of a hobby, and they maybe have some kind of plan where they're going to get a bunch of their armed buddies together and they're going to go to the supermarket and take what they need when time comes. First off, that's a really short-term plan anyway. Do they have provision put up for water, for clean water? Anyway, let's say they get there and there's no food. It's already been decimated, or some idiot's already burned it down. Or there's already an armed group there that has that supermarket and taken it for themselves. How quickly are these so-called preppers going to become a threat to us, those of us that have put food and water up, those of us that have made provision for these things and made other plans? Hibernia's son did a great video. I'm pretty sure it's called MS-13, The Face of the Enemy. And I know I've talked about it in a couple of my videos. Drug gangs, drug cartels, these guys are going to be an organized problem. I saw a documentary at one point. Might have been a show called Gangland, I'm not sure. But whatever it was, there was a percentage thrown out there. 2% of our military is also active gang members. Well, these guys aren't in there for anything other than training. They don't need the money. They're not patriots. They're not serving their country. I mean, they're out there selling crack on the street. They're executing other gang members. Country doesn't really fall into their loyalties. So why are they there? Why are they running around doing basic training? They're doing it for the training. And then they take that back and they train their guys. So not only is there the threat from organized gangs, organized armed gangs, I think there's very quickly, relatively, going to become a threat in about the same time frame or a little bit after from organized groups of people who call themselves preppers that don't have any fucking food put away. Now, I know a lot of guys on here do videos just about guns, and they're not just gun guys. They do the gun videos because that's what gets the clicks and that's what people want to see. I can verify that. My gun videos, I've gotten more clicks than my other videos most of the time. So I know that it's sexy, but who's that appealing to? I think there's a lot of folks out there that just think guns are all they need. And those folks eventually are going to run out of provision, probably pretty damn quickly. And then they're going to start looking at you, and they're going to feel their right to survive makes it okay for them to take from you. How quickly does someone start justifying? How hungry do they have to be to justify taking from other people? So I think preppers are a threat to those of us that are actually putting food up. I think the gun preppers. So just something to think about when you're laying out your defenses in your head, when you're looking at your lines of sight and you're considering the most likely scenarios that you might run up against in your defense. I think you need to consider the possibility that at some point a group of preppers that call themselves preppers, the gun preppers, I think at some point they're going to show up and they're going to want what you have. And I think you need to consider not only being ready for organized gangs, but organized gangs of gun preppers. So this is just something to consider, something to think about. I hope if any of you guys out there are gun preppers and you see a video like this or some of the others that may be out there, that you really stop and consider. You're not going to be able to live off the fat of the land. There's not going to be anything glorious. You're not going to be able to just go take what you want from the supermarket when it's time. There's no long-term sustainability in any of that. So, when the deer are hunted down to just about extinction and the rabbits are already gone and there's pretty much no wild game left, when the flora and the fauna have been destroyed out there, when the supermarkets are long burnt out shells, Are you ready for that? If you aren't, maybe buy some less guns, spend less time at the range and training with your buddies, and more time in your garden. More time making sure you have food, making sure you have the ability to provide clean water for yourself and those that you're going to be with. Just something to consider. The gun preppers, I think in the long run, they're going to be just as great a threat as the organized gangs out there. So I don't think there's really a threat. A lot of people talk about foreign troops. I don't think there's going to be much of a threat from them. I think if we have a breakdown of the rule of law here, it's going to be either because we had an economic collapse or it's going to cause an economic collapse. Either way, if there's an economic collapse in the United States, basically the globe is screwed. The entire economic system of the planet's going to break down. No foreign troops are going to be showing up because those countries are going to be dealing with their own internal breakdown, their own economic collapse. So I don't think that's the threat. I think the threat is the drug cartels, the gangs, and the gun preppers. Groups of armed people that aren't ready food-wise and water-wise and shelter-wise, or that whatever plan they had, they didn't really think through very well. And now, now that that's taken a crap, they're looking at you and licking their chops and thinking, well, they're still there. There's X amount of people in that area. They have to have food put up. Are they raising food? Are they growing food? Should I go take it? So understand that when you're getting ready for yourself, get ready for long term. There's no point in prepping for just a couple of weeks or just a few months. There's no point in that. Get ready for at least a year until you can start sustaining your own growth. So I'm going to do another video about raising food, not just growing food. So that's just my thoughts. I'm no expert on that either. But anyway, I hope that if you haven't been considering the threat from gun preppers, I hope that you'll think about that now and incorporate that into your defense planning. These are going to be trained guys that can see the lay of the land just as much as you and your training have shown you. They're going to be guys maybe with ex-military or police experience that have now gotten to the point where they're justifying in their own head that it's okay to come take from you because they have the right to live. So consider that in your planning, in your defense. Talk to your group, anybody that you're talking to about this stuff, talk to them about it. So so that everybody's aware and so that you guys can maybe start planning for that. I think it's pretty much an inevitability if there's a breakdown. It's going to wind up there. So, Urban Combat Survivor.